Hi guys, it's Amy with Fame to Plan, and today I am here taking this spiral coil bound happy planner and converting it to disc bound. So I recently picked up this planner in a Michael's clearance haul. It was $3.50, and so I decided to buy it really just to be able to show you how to convert it to discbound. I think it's one of the things that I hear a lot of people saying they like the covers, they like the pages, they like the style of the dividers in these coil bound planners, but they don't really know what to do with it since it's not on the usual happy planner disc bound system. And so this is just a video really converting the entire thing to discbound. There are a couple of different ways of doing it, and I'll show you as many methods as I can really try to fit in and not damage any of the pages. And so what we have here is this Coilbound planner is 18 months. Some of it is outdated already, and so I'll do some experiments on the initial months just to be able to kind of show you some of what I'm thinking, but I will try to keep intact the 2023 portion of it because I think I'll go ahead and try to use this for my baby book for 2023. That's kind of hard to say, baby book. All right, anyway, I've got my supplies. So first things first, I've got the planner itself. I've got my happy planner punch, which I'll use to punch the pages. I also went ahead and brought this. I'm not sure if I'll use this or if I'm going to be like really worried about putting it on here, but I'm going to try to attempt to punch through the cover, and I'll use this one because it's much stronger than the happy planner punch. And then of course I have got a set of discs. I went ahead and just went with like classic black for this setup, just for the purposes of doing the video. And so just to dive right in, I'm not going to do a flip through of it, but I'm sure you'll be able to see the pages as we go through. But basically this is going to be fairly simple in that I'm going to go right here back to the back cover and just try to uncoil it. I don't want to damage the coils. Certainly if you're not going to use the coils at all, you can certainly just like rip them off, but I want to be able to open them fairly gently to where like I can pull off the pages, but then I can, if I really wanted to, I could put the pages back on. Now, you can absolutely not go with this method. I'll show you again like some other methods for doing this, but I like to start off this way because it leaves the pages as intact as possible, and I don't think it takes that much time to uncoil. With the way that these rings are set up, they're meant to be pinched together, so you can see I'm just like kind of pulling the larger of the pieces just because it's less painful to do that. And I just kind of pull it up, separate it from the other portion of it. And it doesn't have to be a perfect like kind of like separation. It doesn't have to be like perfectly aligned or equally spaced or anything like that, but it's separated, you can see here, just enough to where I can like start pulling pages off. And so I'm just gonna pull pretty much a month at a time off the coils. Actually, no, let me try it this way. I'm going to actually curl it underneath itself like this. This is how I uncoil other planners, and so I think it might actually work for this method as well. And so I'll uncoil it. I just basically twisted it around on itself. And now I'm pulling out the skinny edge. All right, and in this case, I am damaging it. You can see it kind of loses its shape at this point, but I will not be reusing the coils. Now, if you're not sure if you're gonna recoil it or not, I know a lot of people, like for example with Erin Condren's, they like to recoil it. Definitely do not bend the second half like this. Just go ahead and take the pages off as I showed you for the cover here. Just pull it between the gap that you created. All right, and so I'm pulling this off. I can still reshape this back into a coil if I needed to, but honestly I will not use it. I have definitely not been a coil bound planner for a long time. All right, and so now that's the first step. I took it off the coils. All right, now if you do not like that method, if you for example have issues with your hands or have arthritis, or there are just other issues where you're just not sure that you will be able to do that, one of the other things that you can do is leave it on the coils. And I did grab a pair of scissors for this, and just very gently, either like using a craft knife or a pair of scissors, just cut along the coil and just cut it off the edge here. And so one thing that I will just kind of caution you with doing that is if you cut along the edge, you'll end up having to punch into the writing here because the coils are like really close to the monthly and really close to the weeklies. So I don't recommend that method, but if you're just like really concerned about like like hurting your hands or like just not being able to apply the pressure that you need to be able to remove it off the coils, then yeah, you can definitely cut it off. It just, you will lose some of the sizing and the spacing and some information. Okay, now with that being said, I'm going to set aside the covers for the time being. I'm going to deal with these pages. All right, I'm going to use July 1st just to try this to make sure I don't mess up. But really, it's really super easy. I personally do not mind that there is all of this stuff happening on the edge. One thing that I would do is probably go back and cover up the divider. I'll just use like either a sheet of paper or some washi or something to cover the divider, like the front part of the divider. But I also really don't care that it has like all of these extra hole punches. And so I just use my Happy Planner punch. I'll mark it up with the lining on my punch. I do have a Claxis size punch right here, so there's the markings here for the two sides. And one thing that I always forget, especially as I get into the groove of it, is to make sure that it's all the way into the back. All right, sometimes I'll miss punch because I forget to do that. So make sure it's set all the way to the back. All right, and then that's what it punches and looks like. Okay, so you can see here, now if you're paying attention like that, the punches actually are the same, like width inward, like it uses the same amount of margin for the punches and the coils, but you can see kind of how messy it looks. Again, I would probably, for the purposes of the divider, cover that up, but on here you can see it looks, again, like it looks really messy. You can kind of see what it looks like, but again, for me, I don't personally care that it looks like that, and so I'm gonna punch, let's just try a couple of months. I like to punch the months kind of like in two sections, like the divider with a couple of pages, and then the next set of pages. All right, so I did July, I'm gonna do August, and then we'll put it on disc just so you can see what it looks like. And I'll pull a different set of covers. So it's probably too many. So the Happy Planner punch can only handle about 3 pages. And these dividers are a little bit thicker, so I would say like the divider plus like maybe 1 or 2 pages. And then you can probably get away with like the rest of the pages, like the next like 3 or 4 pages of the month together. And again, just line it up with the lines, make sure it's all the way in the back, and punch it. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab a different set of dividers, so that, covers, so you can kind of see what this looks like on discs, and then I'll finish the rest of this project. I grabbed a random set of covers from my shelf. When I put things on discs, I always like to start with the covers and the discs, and so I'll put the covers together and just pop the disc on, both sets of covers, like the front and the back cover. And I like to start off with the outside just because it makes it a little bit more stable. Like if you put just the sheets on there, it would be so loose and it'd be hard to kind of see what it looks like. All right, so I'm gonna put these pages on here just so you can see what it looks like. And again, this will help you kind of make a decision if the look of it will be okay for you. For me, it'll be totally fine. I've done like uncoiling and disc binding like this for several years, and of course I'm a functional planner, so it doesn't really bother me too much, but this is what it looks like on the discs, right? And again, like I just did 2 months, so I think it's fairly straightforward and easy to be able to do this. So you have, of course, still the coil markings here, and if it bothers you enough, then of course you can cover it with washi or, you know, just like white sticker paper and re-punch it. But in my mind, I know it came from Coilbound. I think it's okay that it looks like that. I would much rather prefer being able to see these than to have it go into the information, but that is an option for you. And I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. I guess I should do it for, I'm gonna do it for September. Again, like if you want to just cut off the coils here, I'm just gonna do it for a single month. If you cut off the coils here, and those markings, you do, of course, like you make it more neutral. That's one plus here. But when you punch it, you can see it goes into the month itself. And it's the same for the week, right? So you'll have this happen on both Wednesday and for Thursday. And also the size of the paper will be a little bit less wide. So you'll lose some of it won't be exactly 7, right? So those are just really the 2 ways that I would encourage you to do it. I don't necessarily see any other way of doing it. And so I'm going to actually keep this method. Again, I don't think that there's anything really, I mean, it's visually distracting, but it doesn't like detract from the functionality of the planner. And so I'm gonna put you on fast forward. I'm gonna punch through the rest of these, and you know, this page at this point, I don't know what to do with that. But I will actually probably just get rid of September altogether, and just punch through the dividers for the first few months, just because I'm not really planning to use July through December of this year, or through November of this year. I'll start with basically December of 2022 and go until December of 2023. And so I'm gonna put you on fast forward, punch through all of this, and we'll be back once everything's been put on the discs. At the very end, I ended up with needing to clean out my Happy Planner punch. So yeah, last set of pages here. Okay, perfect. So I've pretty much punched all of it. I don't plan to use it until baby is born, and her due date is December the 10th. And so I did punch like most of it. The only month that I didn't punch was September, which I had cut down. But I'm assuming now that we're mid-September that she's not going to be born in the next like week or two. And so if she happens to come early, I'll have it all saved. But any dividers that I don't use for the baby book, I do generally convert to like notes or extra sections in the first year. So it's a place for me to store like doctor's notes and just like holiday things, extra pictures, that kind of thing. And so I'll leave them in here just for the sake of like having them. But you can see here, super quick flip through of just like random pages, what it looks like, right? And yeah, I mean, like I said, visually it's a little bit distracting, but it's also one of those things where as I go week by week, I can cover it up with washi, I can decorate along the margins, or I can just simply ignore it because I just don't mind. All right, so last little conversion here, and this is the part that I'm a little bit concerned about, is converting these covers. I really think that some of the dividers, I keep saying dividers, some of the covers on the Coilbound are so precious. They look so beautiful, and I actually like the way it's made. It's like made out of, instead of laminate, like plastic, it's like a very sturdy like cardboard, like just like super thick quality. And so I want to be able to kind of convert these as well. Now the shape of these, or like the size of these, are about the same size as the Happy Planner covers. In fact, it's exactly the size of the Happy Planner covers, give or take like maybe the smallest millimeter. And so I'm going to use my crop-dowel punch. Again, this will not work with the Happy Planner punch. Like, it won't even fit into the down in there to get into the punches, okay? And so this definitely will not work with the Happy Planner punch. If you want to use the arc punch, the Staples punch, that would work, but it will be shallower, not quite as deep as what is here. So I'm going to go ahead and use the cover that I had just pulled randomly as a guide. I like to just hold it upwards a little bit so that way I can kind of see where I am going. And on the crocodile punch, there's like a little mark right here, and that's what I use to line up with the stem on the cover, and I will just punch through it. All right, wish me luck. This is the part that I'm the most concerned about. I'm just gonna put a lot of pressure here. The crocodile fits quite easily down there, and I want it to be aligned with that punch. Oh, one thing that's happening here is it's getting caught on this one, which is a good thing because I actually want it to catch like in like the later and not like shift at all. But this first one, if you use like a large punch to punch covers, sometimes you'll know that there's like a little notch that's at the top and the bottom, just because it is supposed to have kind of a little bit of a lip, and the punch goes there. All right, so I'm doing my best to align it. All right, first punch here. All right, and now that I've done that alignment, right, I'm gonna go ahead and just use that spot to punch the rest. And I don't at all know if this is gonna work or not, but let's just see. All right, so far so good, the first 3. It is quite tight. It requires a lot of maneuvering. Like I'm having to shift it kind of like up and down to like get it out of the slots, like move it out of the mushroom stem and into the next one. Like I'm lifting the cover up a little bit to do that. And you can see it's like super tight. Like it's like very little like space here. So, all right. We'll just continue to be very careful. One thing I will do probably just for the cover is cover the edge of it and re-punch it, just because on the front, I don't know if I really enjoy the look of the punches here. But I don't know, maybe we'll see. Oh, look at all the stuff that's falling out. Okay, it's definitely like super thick cardboard, you can see that. Okay, this is the last punch on the front. And then we're gonna put it on here and see what it looks like. So that's it. One thing with the crocodile is that the stems are like super thin, so there may or may not be a lot of space here. And it is cardboard, it's not like a super sturdy, it's not like plastic like the laminate, so it is essentially just like thick paper. So we have to be careful here about getting it on the discs. We'll see what this looks like. It could look really, really bad, and then I will just hate it and not do anything to fix it, but it could be that I really love it. So let's just take a look here. Like the cardboard is separating, so that's a not love to begin with. All right, but it's on the discs. All right, let's just see if it turns. All right, it actually turns fairly well. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the actual cover, just on discs now instead of on the coils. All right, so it doesn't look too bad. I definitely think that I would go back in and just tape it up. Like I'll probably use like maybe some black tape and just tape it up as close to like these holes where they're punched, and then just re-punch it, just because it's separating a little bit, and that would over time I think just receive damage. And also I think aesthetically it might just look a little bit better to do that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and punch the back too and go ahead and get that one on. This project did not take as long at all as I had like anticipated. So this is a very quick and easy conversion. I was thinking it was gonna take like 30 minutes, but it took me about 10 minutes to punch through all the pages, just like getting into the rhythm of it. And then it's assuming like it'll be about like another 5-10 minutes for punching through these covers. All right, one recommendation that I'm seeing just right offhand is for the front cover. I did the punching on the actual like image, and one thing that I'm noticing, I was gonna say, I think it's like kind of separating a little bit more on the front, but no, I think it doesn't really matter. It's separating both sides. I definitely want to tape it down and like re-punch it. It'll cover up the coil, like the square holes, and make it a little bit cleaner, which, I mean, I certainly want something like a little bit more of a clean look for the covers. I don't know if I have the time or the motivation to cover the squares on like every single page, at least, you know, in one sitting. But week by week, it's definitely something I can consider. But also, like I said, I don't really mind that they are there. But on the front and back covers, just for like visually, aesthetically, I think it might look better. And then also it would protect it from damage because it's already, you can see it's already separating. All right, let me take this cover off and get this on. Again, it is like pretty much just cardboard, so be very careful getting it on because it does separate quite a bit. I will leave it on here, I think, and I won't worry about doing the tape thing until closer. We'll see how long it lasts, basically, with the setup as it is, right? Without any extra anything, right? That's what it looks like. Okay, so on discs. All right, and like super messy stuff everywhere. Okay, so all right, that's kind of what it looks like. Again, I'll probably go through, like, I mean, honestly, I don't know. Maybe it will just stay like this forever and I'm just not gonna worry about it. I really only, for the memory books that I keep for Sophia and for this baby, I'm planning to basically use the same setup for the entire year. So it's not like I'm changing covers all the time or moving it back and forth. The pages will be moved back and forth, but the cover and the discs will not be. So it could be like that, this could stay like this. I don't know though, it's kind of starting to fall apart too. So I'm still in the air on whether I'm going to retape it and repunch it. But if I do that, that will be pretty simply just pulling it off, retaping it, repunching it, putting it right back on. But the overall setup is done. So this is what it looks like. I took it off the coils, put it on discs. It is pretty much the entire planner with like all of the punching and everything. It took me, like, I mean, this is with me talking and everything else, and it took less than 30 minutes to be able to convert the entire thing to Discbound. So I think it's a quick and easy project, very doable, especially if there's a layout or a style that you enjoyed in the Coilbound. Definitely consider investing in it and just making the time commitment to convert it to the Discbound, especially if that's your preferred method. You don't let it be, you know, something where you're not taking or picking up a Coilbound planner just because it's not on disc, because it's pretty easy to convert. So yeah, that is the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this planner hack here. And I keep trying to fiddle with it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.